My name is Grace. I'm currently the Vice President, Group HR for UCSI Group. Now, how my typical day would be is that I start working at 9 o'clock. And I'm quite fortunate because I stay not too far from the university. So I can have my breakfast, enjoy my breakfast and come to work. And the first thing, of course, I do is to check my calendar. What are the events that I'm going to have for the whole day? Then I will read my email. And if there are a stack of letters which I need to sign, I will quickly clear it off first. That is normally what I would do. Then I will attend to the meetings and to do the outstanding work that I need to do. And I normally go off around 7 o'clock. Because to me, after 6 is the time also, I wrap up and I see whatever things that I need to complete. I will normally clear off my work. I do not like to keep any letter to be signed on the next day. So my team will come in around 6 o'clock, give me all the letter to sign. I will complete it before I go back. Yeah, so that is normally my typical work 9 to 7. And sometimes I also go off at 8 o'clock. Actually, I have a very interesting career. I started actually my career as a training manager. And throughout the years, I've been always in learning and development because my passion is people development. So I conduct a lot of training, and I was very fortunate also to be opportunity to do regional training. When I joined AIG, I was the regional trainer where I had the opportunity to conduct training in Korea, in Japan, in Vietnam, Hong Kong, and of course in Malaysia as well. The great opportunity come in HR was when I was headhunted to join Berjaya as a head of HR. At the time, I was a bit hesitant because my passion is still learning and development, but I think what attracted me to join is that when the CEO told me that he wanted somebody to come up with succession planning, talent development plan for the organization, as well as to establish Berjaya as the employer of choice, and also to put in place performance management system to drive a performance-driven culture in Berjaya. So that really changed my perspective in terms of human resource, and that's where I started my career as a human resource, full-fledged human resource in Berjaya for about 9 years.
So you was a C and then became a D?
Yes, from L&D, become a full-fledged HR. Here, because I will be sharing more about the position in UCSI universities. University, we have a lot of faculties. We have a lot of positions for lecturers, for associate professor, for example, for professor. And we also have a lot of part-time lecturers. So when you talk about position, it's mainly focused on academic. That means lecturer, professor, and also because of the contract, the nature of the position is most of them are on contract basis. 1 to 2 years, then they will move on, or when they have part-time lecturer, they may come in a few days in a week, for example. And the other group of lecturer we are talking about is expatriate. We also need a group of expatriate of lecturer where most of them will have 2 years contract. And that's why if we are talking about recruitment position, mostly on the lecturers from different faculties. Yeah. Of course, the most important thing is to be able to identify what are the training needs and learning needs for the employees, and to be able to come out with a development program for them. I think for the universities, most of them are academicians, so most of them will have done research, publication, and it's very academic focused. But what I'm looking right now is that on the leadership development opportunity for the deans, for the director, and we launched, in fact, leadership development program recently for a group of deans and directors, which was in April. And 17 of them signed up for the program. So this is one of the new initiatives, I would say, from the HR to look at not only to enhance the soft skills, I would say leadership skills for the deans and the directors. So we are not focusing only on the academic side, but we're also grooming them in terms of their leadership development to be able to manage their group of lecturers, for example, and their team of people under them. Oh yeah, we are very active in terms of training, because university also contributed to HRD Corp Fund. And the training, some of them are done internally by our own people. You know, we have professors, we have lecturers who are able to conduct the training internally. For example, research. We have a researcher or professor who are able to run the program, in fact, to benefit our own employees. And some of the lecturers, in fact, they also are certified trainer under HRD Corp. So again, when we conduct training for internal employee, we can also claim back from the HRD Corp Fund. So we actually utilize our own resources, in fact, to run some of the hard skill training program that you're referring to. However, we also engage external consultants to come in, for example, in terms of industrial relation, in terms of Excel training, advanced Excel training. We also hire external people to come in. Yeah, so that in fact almost every month we have training program for all our employees. Yeah, and we also have what we call a training hours that the staff need to achieve every year, at least 14 hours. Yes, per staff. So that's why our program, we don't have a challenge of getting the participation for our staff to attend the training. Yes, of course. Let me share with you actually one of the New Year message that given by our founder, Dato' Peter Ng, is about digitalization. It's about digital transformation. So now there are a few things already being in place currently. For example, our e-wallet. We have a UCSI OnePay that currently we are testing. And this UCSI Pay, what we hope to use is within the campus. That means, for example, the students, when they can pay parking, they can use the wallet. And then for the F&B, the cafeteria, they can also use the e-wallet to make payment instead of using other apps to do it. That's why we are testing it at the moment. Now, the other digitalization project that we're looking at is actually at the security entrance. Now they are looking at the system where when our staff drive through the car, we don't have to actually tag. The system, we're able to read our car plate number and then we just enter. And right now it's in the testing mode. We hope that to be implemented very soon. So when you see these processes, right, it was quite amazing because not many universities have done it. Another one we are looking at is the dashboard. In fact, we just completed our CSD. James, you will know our CIO, also just completed the project on dashboard. Right now, the dashboard will be presented during our senior management team to be able to see, for example, the number of students that we have, the foreign students, local students, and what are the faculty, the internal number of students, and what of program that we have. And they are looking at also local overseas students. So that is a very big achievement to us in terms of our digitalization project. So there are more projects coming up, instead which we are working closely with the CSD department. So digitalization has taken place in UCSI University. Yes, in fact, we are also looking at, in terms of students' number. Where do they come from? Is it overseas? Mostly overseas, and even there's an analysis doing like, is it from Klang Valley or is it from outstation, different states, for example, or overseas students? How many are from China or how many from Pakistan? I think there will be analysis going on right now because of the dashboard that we'll be able to get, and that will really help us in terms of student recruitment. And also for HR side, will be able to help us also to identify how many associate professors we have in terms of number of vacancies, whether we can get the right person to fill out the vacancy and so forth. Because currently right now it's quite manual. but we are working closely with CSD to come up with a dashboard also for HR. Oh, I think definitely so important for them because in fact, the other day I was discussing with one of the faculty. We are looking at, because of the pandemic, they need to have online classes and all that. And also they train the students to be digital savvy, about being an entrepreneur. That means how do they do online shopping and all that. And in fact, they have the project to do. So the students, in fact, are trained to be upskilled as well. And I also understand that some of the lecturer or professor also have to upgrade or upskill themselves in terms of the digital skills that they're supposed to have. And in fact, pandemic accelerated the requirement for digital skills that require. And actually, coincidentally, I also discussed with the lecturer because I'm looking at the employer side. How are we going to get our students ready? Because we are talking about now digital workforce. So to me, the university play a very important role as well to get the student ready. When they join the workforce, they already have the digital skills that required by the employer, and that will give them an added advantage compared to other students which may be graduated from other universities, which may not prepare them. So we, in fact, when I discussed with some of the faculty, in fact, they already have programs which get the students ready and then train them on digital skills that they require to be ready to be employed when they graduate. Oh, I think it's very, very important because I think for the generation right now, they actually wanted to know their career path, or you mentioned about career tree. And also it's very important to know how to prepare them, to move to the next path, or what are some of the skills or knowledge or even information that they require to move to the next level of their career path, for example. I'm for it. And in fact, when I was in my previous company, we developed career path for HR. Because to me, I believe that would be part of the retention. When the staff join a company and when they see that there is a growth opportunity for them, they will stay. And if you do not share with them what are the career path opportunity for them, some of them may actually look outside. And then we may lose the talent that we have within. That's why I always believe in grooming and developing our own talent rather than recruiting outside talent. And of course, there should be a mixture actually to have talent from outside and also inter-talent. Job scope, it depends. For example, for the employees, right? I have employees who are in recruitment, for example, but she wants to learn about industrial relations, which is not her current job scope. And for me, I welcome that. And to me, that I also will give opportunity to the staff because he or she have taken the initiative that she wants to learn more, rather than just stick to the job that she's doing currently. Especially, you're talking about young graduate. She's a fresh graduate. She joined us about a year plus. In fact, we just have a conversation. She said, Grace, can I actually give an opportunity? I want to learn something else about HR. So I welcome and I encourage, and more so that I'm the person who are really passionate about people development. And to me, it's also part of the grooming young talent also in organization where they are not limited to just particular knowledge. And to me, they are really hunger for learning. And we should give them the opportunity to learn. And in fact, I'm also mentoring a few HR managers for them to be potential successor to be the head of HR currently. Yes, currently there is a project actually. I just was given one manager from one bank where she wants to be HR director. but she's currently a head of one of the particular department, but she said how can she actually be all-rounder and be promoted and to be considered as an HR director. And I also involved another organization called Tulips organization, where I also mentor HR manager. Coincidentally, the person that I mentor is HR manager. She also wants to move to the bigger organization. Currently, she's in a very small SME organization. So I just started my mentoring program with her. It will be a 6 months program. So in fact, today I just have a mentoring session with her to ask her to set her goals. What are some of the goals, short-term, long-term, and then what are some of the action plan that she needs to do so that she can achieve her goals. So mentoring is actually in me. I open to mentor a lot of people who wants to be mentored. If you ask me, it will be CEO. I think the highest paid, but that also comes with a very big responsibility, for me, because we are talking about also achieving the business objective organization. Of course, CEO I think is the highest pay. I think the other position also very high pay is the marketing or sales director. They are paid very high, and some organization in fact give a lot of incentive if they are able to get the number. If, for example, I understand certain universities in fact given incentive to the marketing director if they are able to get a certain numbers of students in. Currently, I think research, I think there are also limited opportunity I think, but for universities, in fact, we have a lot of researchers, and in fact, we are looking for companies, in fact, to engage our researcher to do research. We have a few grants. For example, some company actually do engage our lecturers, our professor to be researcher to do some research in terms of their products, in terms of their technology. We do have, but to me, there are more opportunity that can be tapped on, really. And company, instead of engaging very experienced consultant, I believe that they can actually engage our professor, lecturer, a researcher in the university to do a lot of research. And also this will help in terms of our number of publications. We really need that, and the grant will help as well to do the research. To me, it depends on the certain position and also the job requirement and the competency required. I think for academician, it's quite straightforward that we are looking at their qualifications. So for UCSI, minimum for professor has to be a PhD, because we also need to meet certain number or percentage of our lecturer to be PhD to meet the requirement for our QS ranking, for our MQA application for program, for example, and so forth. So to me, it's very important to look at the job requirement for each position. Now, I would also wanted to look at soft skill. Being an HR, during the interview, I also wanted to actually ask them about their experience in terms of managing a team, for example, or what are some of the challenges that they face when they manage a team in the current organization that they have, for example, or it can be universities. So to me, that should be a balance. But I felt that based on my observation for about 8 months here, a lot of focus is based on academic rather than the soft skill required. And I think this also happened in the academic side for the students. But in fact, some universities also realize that they need to equip the students with the soft skill as well. For example, strategic thinking, communication skill, also one of the very important skills that some university in fact is providing some basic training for them, because I understand one university also approached me and asked me my view. When I interview fresh graduate, what are some of the skills that I will look for fresh graduate rather than just looking at the academic report and CGPA. I did share with them, very important skill is actually communication skill, and be able to organize their thought to communicate the message that they want to communicate with whoever that they come in touch with. I think the communication skill, interpersonal skill is very, very important for fresh graduate, to be able to enter the market. I believe in interviewing, one thing, you can maybe use what we call a STAR approach to interview. That means you ask them to come up with a situation, you test them on the scenario, whether they have encountered the challenging situation, a problem solution, and how do they come up with solution. Another way of assessing the skills or the competency is actually using assessment tools. I'm a true believer of using assessment tools to really assess, like they claim that they have certain leadership skill. The tools, I think, will be able to assess or evaluate them whether they have those tools. And of course, it depends on what kind of tools that we'll be using to assess. Of course, there's a cost coming with, depending on the budget that the company has to use the tool. I use tool a lot, especially for very senior position. For manager and above position, I will definitely use assessment tool to assess their leadership skill, some of the internal personal skill, and also even decision-making skills. Yes. Actually, when I mentioned about UCSI, right, not only university, because we have other industry as well, just like hospital. We have hotel, the Quadri Hotel. We have F&B, we have our organic culture restaurant that we opened recently. This actually our opportunity to work in UCSI. We also have UCSI Consulting Group who are looking for consultants to do some of their project where they source from different industry. To me, is to get yourself prepared. When you want to apply for a job, I think very importantly is to assess yourself, whether you have the qualification, the requirement for the job, and not to just apply for the sake of applying that, oh, this is my ideal dreams, my other job. I want to give you an example of my experience. When I look back, right, where I am right now, I think it's the preparation that I had done many, many years ago. I'm not a human resource graduate. I graduate in economics. Really different from the rest. But I got the opportunity to become a training officer when I first graduated because I have temporary teacher experience. That's how I started with learning and development. Then after a few years, I found that I need to move somewhere. I thought I want to try out human resource. So what I did was that I took part-time studies for about 1.5 years to equip myself with the human resource knowledge that I'm supposed to have. I took out diploma in human resource from MIHRM. And this is me. I always believe that if you want to make a move, or you want to apply for a certain position, you must prepare yourself. And so that you have the added advantage, one thing. And then people will know that you come with certain knowledge. It can be theoretical, but I think at the end of the day, we are able to answer some of the questions that when people ask you, what do you know about recruitment? What do you know about con and bank? You're able to answer it. So I always believe in equip myself, and when I was the L&D, almost every year, I will attend training. Certified training, for example, TTT, definitely. Trained a trainer by HRDF at that time. I also certified as NLP practitioner. I also certified myself as a business coach. And last year, in fact, I certified myself as a solution-focused coach, for example. So I also attend training on mentoring. Yeah? So this is what I believe, that learning, is a continuous process. There's no ending to learning. Right now, I felt that even though I'm already head of HR, of now currently university, I'm learning what is the education industry all about. And that's why I think make my job very interesting. That continuously I'm learning something every day about education industry. Because when I was the previous company, I only have F&B, I have hospitality, the club experience, the F&B, but now another new knowledge for me, university. That's why the first few months when I was in UCSI University, it was a struggle for me. to understand the requirement to recruit, for example, lecturer and all that. But now, I would say that at least I'm quite familiar already. Still, there are room for improvement. Oh, I think definitely, because like you say, you need to know the requirement of a certain position, then you will prepare yourself for that requirement or competency or skill required. Then only you can take up the role, you see. Because if you are not prepared or you do not have the requirement, people may not hire you, or people may say that you are not ready to take up that role. So I always believe in very clear spell out of the requirement. What is it required to be for example, a recruitment manager? What are the requirements or skill set that you require to be an IR person, for example? We need not, I always believe that you need not be the master of everything, but at least you have a strategic role. Like for example, I would say that I have limited experience in comm and band, but I'm not worried because I have people who can support me, or I can do some research, or I can just reach out to some of my HR friends to ask them, tap on their knowledge, So we cannot be a master of everything. We can be specialists, but not master of a thing, I believe. It will take a number of years. But you need not be 100% meet the requirement to take out the role. Just like, when I was headhunted to be a head of HR in Berjaya, I don't have the complete HR role experience. I only have L&D and recruitment, but I think the CEO see that with time, I will be able to take the role, and he also told me that, don't worry Grace, I have a group of people already who can support you. You just need to focus on certain things or certain mandate that I need to ask you to do. So I will believe that you may not be able to get 100% fit for the position that you want to. To me, 70-80% will be good enough, and I always believe in training people as well. Yeah. Hi, I'm Grace. I'm currently the Vice President, Group HR for UCSI Group.